On the heels of a 5-2 homestand, the Tigers are smiling quite a bit these days. Their home dominance included 2 wins over Tampa Bay last weekend. And in that 4-game series, the 2 teams split. Tonight we move indoors to St. Petersburg. We're at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida. Welcome inside, everyone, for Game 1 of this 3-game series featuring the Detroit Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba. Ron Allen, glad to have you with us for Game 1 of this series. The Tigers coming off the 3-game sweep of the Cleveland Indians. And tonight things look pretty good, too. They've got Justin Verlander on the mound. Good pitching matchup, though. Jeff Neiman will go for Tampa Bay.
Well, if you're Jim Leyland, it's a nice luxury to have a guy like Verlander take the mound for your ball club in very hostile environment. Tampa plays very well at home, and you need someone like Verlander to come in and shut them down, as he has done just about everywhere he has gone this year. But I was really impressed with Neiman with what he was able to do against the Tigers offense 5 days ago at Comerica Park. This kid has a real good power sinker, nice curveball, changeup, and a 4-seam fastball, and he's in that hunt for Rookie of the Year.
Absolutely, and a great pitching matchup here tonight. Now, the Tigers have had improved defense over the years, and I guess you could say that a big part of that improved defense this year has been Gerald Laird. He's been able to shut down the opponent's running game with relative ease.
Well, he's like having another manager on the field. As a matter of fact, Jim Leyland said as much 5 days ago when Polanco hit that huge home run against his Tampa Bay Rays team late in the ball game. It was Gerald Laird that Leyland called the MVP of that game, not Polanco. He quarterbacks on the field, he takes control, he gets the out at first base, but the feet work awfully well for him when he's throwing guys out at second base. He threw out Bartlett, he threw out Upton in that series that Sunday afternoon. As a matter of fact, we have not seen anybody throw the ball as well as Laird has thrown, and I dare say Pudge Rodriguez, he has been that good this year. He's been money.
Yeah, that's well, G-money he's been, actually. Yeah, he's been really, really good. Well, the Tigers trying to improve on their road record. They'll try to get here tonight in the Dome. We're at Tropicana Field. Glad to have you with us for Game 1 of the series. Coming up, Curtis Granderson leading off with authority. He's hit safely in 10 of his last 13. We'll be back with more from the Trop in a moment. Welcome back to St. Petersburg, Florida. We're getting you ready for baseball tonight. The Detroit Tigers starting this road trip down here in hot, steamy Florida. Tigers and Tampa Bay. And as we come into play here tonight, what's going on in the American League Central Division? Some games we'll keep our eyes on. And Rob, the Tigers come in with a 5-game lead.
And watching the Tigers the last week or so, they finally got their swagger back. I think they believe that the finish line is near, which it is. And they also believe they're going to win the American League Central.
And the Tigers trying to take another step toward that with a road victory here tonight. When we come back, the Tigers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. First pitch lineups on the way next. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, standing the test of time since 1849. Your Motor City Dodge dealers. On demand from Comcast. There are over 10,000 on-demand choices, and most are free. And by Arby's Bacon Cheddar Roast Burger Sandwich. Try it today. It'll have you saying, I'm thinking Arby's. Back here in St. Petersburg, Florida, back inside Tropicana Field. We come to you indoors this evening. Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays. Game 1 in this 3-game series. The Tigers starting lineup tonight is presented by Big Boy. And it features Curtis Granderson in center field. He'll be followed by Placido Polanco at second base. Cleet Thomas in right field. Miguel Cabrera will clean up. The DH is the former Ray, Aubrey Huff. Carlos Guillen in left. Brandon Inge is at third. Gerald Laird will catch. Adam Everett batting ninth. And he will play shortstop. Meanwhile, the Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report. On Jeff Neiman, get the Bernstein Advantage. We go to bat for you.
Well, you can't teach size. He comes in 6 feet 9 inches and about 275 pounds. And the arm slot that he throws from presents problems for the opposing hitters. They will be watching him very closely in the month of September. He's already at 146 innings. And a lot of times they don't want rookies to go much more than that. And, of course, with 12 wins, he is very much in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. Let's take out the Tampa defense behind Mr. Neiman. You've got Crawford Perez in the outfield along with Gabe Gross. You've got the talented Longoria at third base. Bartlett, probably the MVP of their team, at short. Zobers, Pena on the right side of the infield. Navarro is the catcher. And by now, you know that Jeff Neiman is the pitcher.
And the defense brought to you by Honda Bluefield. Here's the numbers on. Here are the numbers on Jeff Niemann, who is making his 25th start. He's got a couple of complete games this year.
Yeah, and first full season in the major leagues, already at 146 and 2/3 innings. They will not allow him to get much more than 165, 170 innings here this year. And it also depends on whether Tampa falls out of the race the remainder of September.
Well, as we get you ready to start this one here this evening, this game, we remind you, is available in crystal clear high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD. It is sponsored by Comcast. The big right-hander Jeff Niemann ready to go to work. We are ready for game one in this series. Tigers a 5-game lead in the Central as they hit the road again. Only 2 more road trips to go for this ball club. Niemann ready, so are we. First pitch of the ball game is a strike called on Curtis Granderson. Curtis had 7 hits on the recent homestand, including his 26th home run. Wave and a miss, and very quickly down to the count 0-2.
And Curtis Granderson is a very good fastball hitter. Therefore, that looked like a split-fingered fastball that Niemann will throw on occasion to go along with the sinker ball and the curveball and the slider.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. He got him. Strike 3. Down goes Granderson swinging.
Well, Niemann was pretty good against the Tigers when Tampa was in Comerica Park about 5 days ago. I mean, he was dominant with his fastball. It was moving all over the place. And he didn't throw many of those four-seam fastballs. So we'll see how he goes the remainder of the way.
So this promises to be quite a pitching matchup tonight between 2 of the better right-handers in the league. And Niemann off to a nice start, striking out Granderson. Polanco looks at a strike called, 0-1.
I can't think of another starter. At least I can't think of one that stands 6 feet and 9 inches that's right-handed in the major leagues these days.
He goes 260 out of Houston, Texas. That's popped up. First base line for Carlos Pena, and there are 2 outs.
Which means that angle that Niemann is throwing from is one that the Tigers do not see very often. It is a straight downhill plane that he throws from, and because of that, you have a tough time of picking the ball up. He had tremendous late life on his fastball in that game against Detroit. Jim Leland said as he was very impressed with him, and that pitch right there that he struck Cabrera out with may have been his best 2-seam fastball of the day.
Well, you mentioned the angle with which he throws. Joe Madden was saying he's impressive and intimidating enough at 6'9", as Clete Thomas stands in, but it's the angle at which he throws that makes him even perhaps more intimidating. You don't see it very often, and the youngster has put together quite a rookie season. 2 balls, no strikes on Clete, batting .250 with 5 hits on the last homestand. He was 5 for 11. Niemann has fallen behind 2-0. Here it comes. A little bit low. 3 balls, no strikes. Thomas getting the start in right field tonight against the right-hander Niemann. And he misses on 4 straight. Thomas gets a 2-out walk. That'll keep the inning going for Miguel Cabrera.
This Tampa team handled Cabrera pretty good when they played in that 4-game series at Comerica Park last week, and he was sizzling. Coming off of that road trip in Oakland and also Los Angeles against the Angels, and they pitched him aggressively with good firm fastballs, and I don't expect them to change for the next 3 days because they had success.
Well, Cabrera in that series was just 1 for 14 against Tampa pitching. This is a new series, however.
As you can imagine, a guy that stands 6 feet 9 inches, not all that athletic as far as the footwork is concerned, which means you can steal a base on him if you've got the right combination.
Thomas modest lead down there at first base. Clete doesn't run a whole lot, and Cabrera takes high. So after a quick start, Niemann now has thrown 5 straight out of the strike zone.
Starting to see more pitchers like Niemann, once they get in their stretch and they start their motion toward home plate, they take a peek over at first base to really gauge how big the lead is the base runner's getting. Now take a look over there, and that gives you a real good indication of how big the lead is for the base runner.
We're talking about a right-hander at 6 feet 9 inches tall. Really, the only guy that comes to mind in recent history was, you remember the kid named Jeff Juden?
I remember that name.
He pitched for the Astros and the Angels briefly, and he was about 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah,
big hulking kid.
Because obviously we got Randy Johnson, who's 6'10", but he's left-handed. And the kid, what is his, Mark Hendrickson?
Hendrickson.
That we saw somewhere this year as well, and he's a big fella.
Chris Young, he's a right-hander.
He is.
He's big.
He is.
Now the 1-1. Missed it outside. 2 balls, 1 strike on Miguel Cabrera. Well, for Cabrera, since the All-Star break, batting .368, and he has hung in there in the top 5 most of the year in batting average. .337 right now. The 2-1. Towering pop-up straight up in the air, left side of the infield. Who wants it? Longoria gives way to the shortstop. Bartlett, who at the last second made the play. The thing almost hit the roof. No runs, no hits, a walk, 1 left. Here comes the bottom of the first. That's the bottom of the first inning now here in St. Petersburg. The Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays scoreless as we head to the bottom of the inning. Here is the starting lineup for the Rays, presented by the Romani Eye Institute. Will feature Jason Bartlett leading it off, followed by Carl Crawford, and then Ben Zobrist. Carlos Pena cleaning up. Pat Burrell is the DH. Evan Longoria is at third. And their bottom 3 features Gabe Gross, Deanna Navarro, and Fernando Perez getting a start in center field. Here's the Dodge scouting report on Justin Verlander.
Well, if you're Verlander, continue to stick with your game plan. Verlander's kind of gotten to that stage where he no longer really has to look at the weaknesses of the opposing hitters, but pitch to his strengths because he is that good. And with the 15 wins this year and the amount of strikeouts he's piled up, he is having a career year in a Detroit uniform.
And Jason Bartlett leads it off with a 4-game hit streak. Bartlett, what a season he's had. .337 average. He's been among the league leaders all season long as well. The strikeout total that you speak of with Verlander, 215 strikeouts.
Bartlett still looking for his first hit against Verlander in his career.
He's fallen behind here, 1 and 2. Justin, every 9 innings, averages a little over 10 strikeouts. There are the numbers you spoke of. 0 for 8 against Verlander. Make that 0 for 9 against Verlander. First strikeout of the game for Justin.
Let's take a look at the Tigers defense. Of course, it's always presented by your Chrysler and Jeep Superstores. You've got Guillen, Granderson, Thomas in the outfield. Inge, Everett, Polanco, Cabrera. That is the infield. G-Money, Gerald Laird behind the dish, and he will be important once again in this game because Tampa comes in with 169 stolen bases as a team, which is first in all of baseball.
Carl Crawford takes a rip. Crawford batting .308. He has had a fine season. 55 RBIs to go with his 61 driven in. Tigers, though, did a pretty good job of slowing him down in that series back at Comerica Park.
He had just come back after missing a few games with a bad back. Yeah, but apparently he's okay because he's been in there since then.
Chops that one down the first base line, foul. Well, for Justin Verlander, some pretty impressive numbers.
Well, he's probably going to get 4 or 5 more starts this year, and he has a legitimate shot of winning his first Cy Young if he just continues to do what he's done pretty much every 5th day, and that's dominate American League hitters.
That's on the ground towards second base. Easy play for Polanco, and Crawford is kept off the bases. That's a good thing. 2 gone.
Jim Leland showed a lot of confidence in Verlander his last start against Tampa. He let him go out there for 8 innings because he wanted him to get a win. He had pitched that well. Those 3 earned runs he gave up, he gave those up in back-to-back pitches. Back-to-back home runs, one by Longoria, the next one by Iwamura. But that was all Tampa was able to muster against Verlander.
There's Ben Zobrist with 2 out. Zobrist playing at second base in this game. Very versatile performer, can play in the outfield and the infield.
Iwamura, who missed 75 games with knee surgery. His knee has swelled up on him a little bit, so he's not starting today.
Well, they didn't feel that he was going to be able to play at all this year, Iwamura that is, and then he came back, and I would imagine that's probably something they're going to have to keep an eye on the rest of the year. Meanwhile, Verlander has gotten ahead 0-2 on Zobrist.
It is almost impossible to really hit Verlander hard once you've fallen behind him in the count. And this is when he is dominant. This is when he just simply blows you away.
2-2. Well, Zobrist has been somewhat dominant himself this year. A career high 23 homers. He's knocked in 72. Biggest season of his big league career. Checked it. And he held up. Eric Cooper down at third base. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Justin in search of the 1-2-3 inning. And it's a ground ball to second base. Right there, Polanco, and there it is, a 1-2-3 inning. We played one here in St. Petersburg. No score. Top 2 here in St. Pete. Scoreless ball game. Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays. Here is our poll question for the evening. Who is Justin Verlander's biggest competition for the American League Cy Young Award? You can text A, B, C, or D to 37338. Is it A, Josh Beckett, B, Zach Greinke, C, Felix Hernandez, or D, CC Sabathia?
You could make a very strong case for B, C, and D.
I think Beckett's fallen off a bit.
He has. He has not pitched well lately.
Very stiff competition this year. Aubrey Huff leads it off and rolls one fair inside the bag at first base. This will be extra bases. Aubrey chugging towards second, and he will pull in with a stand-up double. So Huff comes back home here to Tampa and slaps a 2-base hit down the first base line.
And he gets a nice round of applause from a lot of Tiger fans, but also some Tampa Bay Rays fans that had a chance to watch Huff play. If Pena cannot get it, no one could get it, and that's one of the values of having on that particular play a first baseman that throws right-handed. You don't have to dive across your body. You simply lay out. You can make that play.
So now Carlos Guillen, the Tigers have the game's first scoring opportunity. Guillen batting .246. First pitch is in for a strike. Meanwhile, Navarro heading out to the mound. Neiman walked a man back in the first inning, but pitched out of it by getting Cabrera to pop up.
That first pitch was a real good fastball away from Carlos Guillen with nobody out and a runner on second. And Neiman, the pitcher, and Navarro, the catcher, they know exactly what Carlos is trying to accomplish here, and they're trying to prevent him from hitting something to the right side of the infield or through the right side of the infield.
Well, for Carlos Guillen, 5 hits on the last homestand. Had a big game against Tampa last Monday, that 2-home run game that resulted in 4 RBIs.
Yeah, 5 of those hits, of those 5 hits, 3 left the yard.
I was talking to Carlos today, by the way, about the Great Gazoo helmet. He didn't want to talk about it. He wanted nothing to do with it. I asked him what was up with his helmet yesterday, and he didn't want to talk about it. There's a little chopper back up the middle. This will advance the runner. Longoria scooping, and he has no play. Infield hit.
That was funny yesterday.
It's about as funny as anything we've seen or heard this year.
I've heard several people talking about that. The comments we made about that helmet. That's a nice job there by Longoria, who won a Gold Glove last year and probably going to win a few more. No, he did not win a Gold Glove, did he?
No, he was an All-Star and Rookie of the Year.
All-Star Rookie of the Year. I believe Adrian Beltre got it again. But he's going to win a Gold Glove or 2 before it's all said and done. He's that good down at that hot corner. But he made a wise decision by not throwing that ball.
Here comes Brandon Inge. Tigers have runners at first and third, nobody out. And a strike in the outside corner. 0-1 on Brandon, 26 home runs. 3 for 12 this year against the Rays, including a homer. Here's the 0-1. Shattered his bat. Look out. That'll fly into the seats. The ball will be caught by the second baseman, Zobrist. That was a dangerous projectile heading back into the seats above the Tigers dugout. And hopefully everybody's okay. Whoa.
Looked like a fastball with a little tailing action right in on the hands of Brandon. Snapped that bat in half. Yeah, these are the runs that the Tigers must score. When you get a runner at third base, nobody out, less than 2 outs, you've got to get these guys to touch home plate.
So here's Gerald Laird. Strike one. Up with the right hand goes Mike Riley.
And Neiman has a fastball anywhere from 89 to 92 miles an hour, but he's got a lot of movement with his fastball. And of course, you know, Verlander, he'll hit triple digits, but his fastball is straight with a lot of velocity and overpowering on most nights.
And another strike, and Laird now is down to the count 0-2. Neiman trying to dig himself out of this second inning mess. A double by Huff and an infield hit by Guillen. Laird had 4 hits on the recent homestand for Detroit. Trying to stay out of a double play here. The 0-2. Swing and a miss. Down he goes, and now Neiman has come right back and retired Inge and Laird. It's his second strikeout.
He threw this fastball right by Gerald. Gerald swung almost like he was looking for something else, which is an absolute no-no. And when you've fallen behind 2 strikes, you can't afford to look for any pitch. You simply look for the baseball and try to put it in play.
Well, here's the number 9 hitter, Adam Everett. He'll try and produce a 2-out hit. Tigers, and we've talked about this before, have done fairly well this year in scoring some 2-out runs.
40%.
3 for 8 this year against Rays pitching. Adam at 240 overall. Strike one. Each of these teams coming in at 72 and 61. Very different spots, though, in terms of the playoffs. The Tigers lead the Central, and the Rays are behind in the wild card race. There's a ground ball. It is a foul ball. Diving stop down there by Longoria.
And the Rays just lost 2 of 3 games to the Boston Red Sox, who just left Florida.
And because of that, they're 6 back now, which is, I suppose, still doable, but it's going to be really tough. They're going to have to get on some kind of roll.
And Boston will have to lose a few.
Here's the 0-2. Navarro, a nice block. Riley will throw that ball out of play as it hit the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tigers trying to avoid stranding a leadoff double. Here's the 1-2. Good job by Everett to spoil the pitch on the outside part of the plate. Adam this year has 38 RBIs. Neiman ready with a 1-2 pitch. And here it is. In the air toward right field, slicing away from Gross. Still coming, foul ground, inning over. Tigers threaten, do not score. They strand 2. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Jim Leland, Rick Knapp look on in a scoreless ball game. Tigers again letting a scoring opportunity go by the wayside. First and third with nobody out. They failed to score. Meanwhile, the Indians helping the Tigers out tonight. 3-0 in the bottom of the 4th inning at Progressive Field. That's good news. Meanwhile, Verlander takes the hill here in the 2nd. Carlos Pena leads it off. Then Pat Burrell and Evan Longoria. Verlander got him 1-2-3 in that 1st inning with a strikeout. First pitch outside, 1-0.
Carlos Pena having another nice season in a Rays uniform. Batting average not very high, but the contact to damage ratio is off the charts. 39 home runs, closing in on 100 RBIs. He walks a lot. 85 of those, which also leads the American League. So, and Carlos is one of those guys where you can pretty much just take the batting average out of the equation because it really does not factor into the season that he's had.
Last 2 years, more than 100 RBIs. That ball is hit hard to right. That ball is down. It's going to go to the wall. Granderson will play the hop. And Pena has himself a leadoff double.
Carlos usually takes a much bigger swing than this, but 2-0. He knows that he can't take his classic big swing against Verlander because he will blow the ball by him. So he's short, he's quick, he's compact to the ball, and that ball was whistled into the right center field gap. I mean, he leaned on that bad boy. As a matter of fact, he had a great series at Comerica Park when they were there.
Including that ball that he hit the center field that hooked quite a bit to the right, and Granderson overplayed it thinking the ball was coming right at him, and it was sliced, or actually hooked so much that it went all the way to the wall. Burrell is the batter now with nobody out. So Pena, as we talked about on Tigers Live before the game, has a chance to win the home run title this year with one of the lowest batting averages you will ever see by a home run champ. Some of the other low averages you see by home run champs were in the 240 range. How about Wally Pitt leading the league in homers in 1917 with 9 home runs?
Just 9?
That was a different time, wasn't it?
It sure was.
9 is a good month now. Actually, a good 2 weeks for some guys.
Yeah.
Burrell has 13 home runs.
First couple of swings that he took, he was trying to get Pena over to third base.
Won't be able to do it here. Inge fielding the ground ball. Burrell unable to advance the runner. One gone. Well, the race for the pennant is on. Place a deposit on 2010 season tickets and receive postseason priority for 2009. For more information, call 313-471-BALL or visit tigers.com. I would like to revise my assessment as Oakland being the loudest ballpark in the league. This place is pretty close.
Pretty loud. This place is pretty loud, especially when it's full. It's not full here tonight, but when they get 40,000 up in here and those cowbells start to ringing.
Not to mention the music.
You can hear them bad boys in your sleep.
Of course, it has the advantage of being enclosed as a dome here to hold the sound in.
Thanks to you, I didn't get much sleep at the hotel last night. I was sleeping with one eye open.
Were you worried about it being haunted?
Yeah. No, just kidding. I slept.
Our hotel's haunted.
I slept.
Verlander missing outside. 1-1 on Longoria.
And Longoria took Verlander deep in that game. Verlander pitched against them 5 days ago. He got a fastball that was up and away from him, and Longoria, pretty much dead fastball hitter. Pretty much dead fastball hitter to the pull field.
He is 9 for his last 18 at bats. And he is barreling toward 100 RBIs as well, sitting on 94.
We'll see how good Verlander feels about his fastball today. It's a 2-1 count, which is the fastball count, but
Longoria has been sizzling. Does he dare throw him a fastball, or does he pull the string on him? Pull the string.
And he has fallen behind 3-1.
And Longoria wasn't biting. Where was this? Looked like the changeup that had to be low because it looked like it got a little bit of the plate.
Swing and a miss. 98. He chased the cheese up and out of the strike zone. 3-2.
Well, guess what this next pitch is going to be? It's going to be a little cheddar too. Right down the middle. That's what JV's been doing a lot of these days. Here it is, hit it.
Longoria trying to pick up Carlos Pena off the bag is second, and he checks his swing and fouls it off.
Verlander has gotten to the point, and it's not that you don't want to look at scouting reports on the opposing hitters, but he is so good these days that he shouldn't really worry about the strengths of the other hitters. Just simply pitch to your strength, because your strength is always better than usually the opposing hitters that you're going up against. You don't have to be trying to pitch to their weaknesses.
Fouled back out of play. Well, that brings up a good question. For the average big league pitcher, how much do they pitch to their strength as opposed to the hitter's weaknesses?
Oh, there are a lot of big league pitchers that will pitch to the weaknesses of the hitter, depending on the style and the velocity that they have with their fastballs, what their out pitches are. But there are certain guys, and Verlander would fall into that category, as I mentioned. And don't worry about what Longoria does best, but you have to do what you do best.
Line to left. That's a fair ball. This will get a run in. Pena coming around to score. Longoria going to second base with his 95th RBI of the year.
Well, he is now 10 for his last 19, and Verlander is so good he was not going to back away from Longoria. Longoria gets a fastball inside and somehow pulls his hands in enough to hit this ball down the left field line for a double and an RBI. He's a good player. And a dead pull hitter as well.
So no sophomore slump for Evan Longoria. What a year he's had. 95 driven in. And the Tigers failed to score their leadoff double in the top of this inning. The Rays make good on theirs. Gabe Gross looks at a strike 0-1. Gross batting .250. Only had 4 at bats against the Tigers this year, 1 for 4. Swing and a miss, off speed, way out in front.
Back-to-back changeups. And Verlander has that swing and miss changeup. Usually guys, changeups aren't pitches that opposing hitters will swing through. You simply fool guys on that pitch. You get them out in front. They pop up a lot, but we have watched a lot of guys just simply swing and miss at Verlander's change piece.
That 96-mile-an-hour heater was too high, 1-2. And Verlander trying to get his 16th win of the year. He has given up a run here in the second.
I guess those days are pretty much gone where Verlander comes out in the first couple of innings and just tries to throw right around 92, 93 miles an hour and kind of feel his way through the game. He comes out these days with both guns ablazing.
That's the way he was pitching at the beginning of the year, wasn't it? This year coming out 92, 93, then pumping it up as the game went along.
Yep.
Checked it, missed it high again.
Well, if you're Gross, you know that Verlander has an idea that you cannot hit that changeup, but you can't look for it if you're Gross. In the back of your mind, you can think about it, but you have to stay ready for the overpowering fastball. Verlander's already thrown him 2 changeups in this pitch sequence. And that was a breaking ball.
It's going to make it 3-2. Justin had an easy 1-2-3 first inning. He is running into some trouble here in the second. Doubles by Pena and Longoria. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Big strikeout there for Verlander, giving him a chance to strand that runner at second, 2 outs.
Well, if you're Gross, you knew you were going to get another fastball. I mean, another changeup, and that's exactly what he got. This one fading away from him and was off the plate. He swung at ball 4.
And missed it by a good margin. Now Deoner Navarro, the switch hitting catcher. Not quite the offensive year he had last year. 227 this season.
He has gone from being an all-star and their everyday catcher to basically platooning these days.
Pretty good series against the Tigers, 3 for 9 last week at Comerica. Two and 0. Navarro last year became the first Rays catcher ever to play in an all-star game. Of course, the Rays made it to the World Series last year. Greg Saun, the veteran, was acquired from Baltimore around the deadline, and that'll run the count to 2-1. Three balls, 1 strike. Verlander has gone deep in the count and quite a few hitters here in this inning.
He is not quite in sync here tonight. Not pounding that strike zone with the efficiency that we have come to watch him pound the strike zone with.
Lifted down the left field line, foul. 3-2 on Navarro. Five pitches already in this half inning for Verlander. And the 3-2. It's popped up. Foul ground. Let's see if there's room for in. She's measuring it. And there is. Side retired. So Verlander keeps the damage to a minimum. They get a run. Strand 1. We go to the 3rd. Tampa Bay has taken a 1-0 lead on the RBI double by Evan Longoria. We go to the top of the 3rd, and last night one of the starters for the Rays had to leave the game.
Yeah, a little miscommunication between Crawford and Upton, and then you look at the left ankle that rolled right there, and they say Upton's going to be out for a couple of days. They hope just a couple of days.
Boy, those ankles are so tricky, and he rolled that one pretty good, but he's out of the lineup tonight.
I guess he liked that mohawk last year. The entire team was sporting so much. He's still sporting his.
You know, that's a pretty good look for him right there, I think.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. I think that looks good on him.
It's not out of control. It's not all spiked up all over the place.
Some guys can carry a mohawk better than others.
Got a couple of parts in his hair, too. That's old school.
Yeah, it is. It's like 80s, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what we used to do. He comes back around.
Here is Curtis Granderson to lead it off. Granderson, Polanco, and Cleet Thomas. We're rocking out to some Belle Biv DuVoe here at the ballpark. Granderson struck out to start the game. Ball 1 from Neiman, who pitched around some trouble in the second. Leadoff double, then an infield single, 1st and 3rd, nobody out, and he pitched out of it. 1-0. Granderson now 22 career leadoff home runs. Hit one on the last homestand. Fouled straight back.
Neiman has thrown a lot of strikes. That much is for certain. He has thrown a total of 30 pitches, 21 of which have hit the strike zone. And he's working ahead of just about every Tigers hitter.
including Granderson, and he dusts him off for the second time here tonight. The second time he has struck him out. Third for the game for Neiman.
Hey fans, Saturday afternoons were made for baseball, and this week on Fox Saturday Baseball, it's an important American League clash as Dustin Pedroia and the Boston Red Sox take on Paul Konerko and the White Sox. Coverage begins tomorrow at 4 p.m. on your local Fox station.
Placido Polanco is in there. He takes a strike. Polanco is 0 for 1. Breaking ball falls in for strike 2. Well, there's been so much made about Scott Kazmir being traded in the middle of a pennant race with a month to go in the season. A lot of the Rays fans here locally were not very happy with that move. But when you look at what Tampa has coming up through their system, we're seeing Neiman here tonight, who is one of their top prospects and having a terrific rookie season. And on Sunday, another one of their big prospects, Wade Davis, will throw. Not to mention they've got Price. So they've got some good young talent. Jim Hickey to work with. Bouncing ball to first. Bad hop. Pena can't play it. It goes to second base. Neiman covers, not in time. They almost pulled that off. It was close.
Carlos Pena won a Gold Glove last year. I don't know if he'll get another one this year because he's already made 10 errors, but very seldom will you see bad hops like this, especially on artificial surface. I don't know if this ball hit the cut of the grass or the AstroTurf or what, but it climbed the ladder on Pena. Couldn't make the play, but Zobrist was right there, and Neiman also did not hesitate getting to the bag, and they almost got Paulie.
Bang, bang. Your buddy Julius down at first called him safe.
Yeah, he is.
That would be Chuck Merriweather.
That is a close play.
Base hit.
But when you have pitchers like Kazmir and Jackson, I mean, is it simply a move where they needed to save money by trading these two players away? Because you talk about the young kids that are coming, and they could very easily be as good as these two, but when you got guys in the mid-20s already, is it a reason why they had to trade them?
I think it's probably the overriding reason they had to trade him. Yeah, there's no question. I mean, they signed. What did Kazmir have left? He had like over 20 million left.
He did.
And he took a step back in terms of his numbers this year. Still very talented, but the rate of return based on the numbers that they gave him, I guess they felt just wasn't good going forward. And with the youth that they have coming up, which is obviously going to be much cheaper. Yeah, to me, that's a big part.
It was a nice article written today in USA Today talking about the majority of the teams that are in the playoff hunt are big market teams that have pretty huge payrolls.
Thomas cuts and misses. Well, the Rays got to the World Series last year with a payroll in the 40 million range.
They did.
So, I mean, that's pretty impressive. It can be done, but it takes the right circumstances. They have the right manager in Joe Madden. They had a lot of good young talent, but a lot of that talent is going to be paid in the next coming years. Ball outside.
It's like the bench coach Dave Martinez is handling the sign calling for Joe Madden. We'll take a peek at the base runner and then go through a series of signs. And the one thing about the signs that are being given to the catcher.
Swing and a miss. Thomas is out on strikes.
You don't know if the signs really mean anything or not. Sometimes it will have Joe Madden, who's sitting right next to him, doing something with his hands, and whatever Joe is doing basically dictates what they want to do as far as handling the running game. So just because you're watching one guy go through signs, that doesn't mean that they're the signs they're going by.
Here is Miguel Cabrera. It's kind of like a football game on the sidelines where you got a couple of quarterbacks and only one of those guys is hot. They're both sending signals, though.
Yep.
Because it really has turned into an art form of stealing signs, and I think there are a lot of guys in this game that have really perfected that craft.
It can affect the outcome of a game. You pitching out correctly in a certain play, or whatever the case may be.
Cabrera hits a hard ground ball to the shortstop. Bartlett flips to second for the force. Side retired. Nothing doing for the Tigers. 2.5 in the books here in St. Pete. 1-0 Tampa Bay.
Save up to $18 per package with a Detroit Lions Super 3-game pack featuring the world champion Pittsburgh Steelers, St. Louis Rams, and Arizona Cardinals. For details, call 313-262-2009 or visit DetroitLions.com. Mario and Rod, back to you.
All right, Keith, thanks very much. We go to the bottom of the third here in St. Petersburg. Tampa on top 1-0 in this battle between Verlander and Neiman. The Rays got doubles in the second by Pena and Longoria to go up. And here is Fernando Perez leading things off. He swings on the first and fouls it away.
This young man here can really run. Got blazing speed.
He'll be followed by Bartlett and then Crawford. The 0-1 showing bunt. Perhaps to utilize that blazing speed. He's got Inge at third base, a little bit in tight. Perez getting the start in center field. We talk about Upton rolling his ankle, so he is unable to play. And Perez missed 130 games with a bad wrist, recently coming off the disabled list. The 1-2 threw it right by him, and Perez is out, one gone. Third strikeout for Verlander, and we were talking about potential Cy Young winners. How about this list?
It's a good list, and it's very close. Beckett's really going to have a good September to get back in the conversation, but Zach Greinke, Sabathia quietly is having a tremendous year. Felix Hernandez is just a tremendous stud. And of course, we watch Verlander every fifth day. This is one of those years where September will dictate who wins that award.
Meanwhile, Felix Hernandez is buried out there on the West Coast in Seattle. Nobody sees him pitch. Nobody knows much about him. But boy, his numbers terrific. And we've seen him a couple of times this year. Very impressive. Jason Bartlett batting.
4 right-handers and 1 left-hander on that list.
Bartlett tried to hold up, couldn't do it.
Another thing they all have in common, they were all very high draft choices. Of course, Hernandez signed as a very young kid as a free agent out of Venezuela. But he would have been a #1 pick had he gone to school in the United States.
Easily. Let's see, Sabathia was #1 for the Indians. Verlander for the Tigers. Beckett, Florida Marlins. And then Hernandez on that list, so a lot of talent. Here's the 2-2. Bartlett struck out back in the first, 0 for 1. Played his college ball at Oklahoma. School known more for their football, obviously. One of the things that Bartlett has really excelled at this year is hitting with men in scoring position. For much of the year, he was over 400. He has dipped down now to 388. And Joe Madden, his manager, was saying he feels that he's a really good hitter with men in scoring position because of the organization that he broke in with, the Minnesota Twins, that put a lot of emphasis on that in the minor leagues. And he takes up high as Verlander again goes deep in a count.
That 388 is best in the American League. He's had a nice year. 24 steals. Top 5 in batting average.
He's been hit by a lot of pitches. He's got that left elbow all wrapped up. He has been hit by only 3 pitches this year. 3-2 pitch is low. Oh, that was close. And Verlander Wanted to know where it was, and same with Leland. Borderline.
It's close.
Did appear a little bit outside, though.
Bartlett was thrown out by Gerald Laird a couple of times in that series at Comerica Park in that 4-game series. And we'll see if he still thinks he can steal a base against Laird.
And Bartlett has been caught only 5 times overall this year. It's not like he's had a bad percentage. He's had a very good percentage. Carl Crawford bounced out back in the first inning. Fastball high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If you're Bartlett, you can't get the same kind of lead against Verlander as you do against most right-handed pitchers, because he's got a really quick move.
Swing and a miss. 96, threw it right by Crawford. 1-2. 56 now on the pitch count, and we're only in the 3rd inning. The 1-2. Popped him up. Back toward the seats. Is there room for Brandon Inge? He's sliding but can't get there. Back out of play. Well, when you start sliding on that warning track here, that is not dirt, which is a little bit more forgiving.
Especially on bad knees.
Yeah, good point. 1-2.
Well, Bartlett's still standing there. And Verlander has thrown Crawford all fastballs to this point.
High fly ball. Shallow right field. Thomas hauls it in. 2 gone. And Bartlett's still anchored at first base. Moving up, Ben Zobrist with 2 outs. 1-0 game. Tampa got a run of the 2nd on doubles by Pena and Longoria. Zobrist in the last couple of years has really torn up Tigers pitching. As Bartlett gets back again. Zobrist has hit 4 home runs in the last 2 years against Tigers pitching and 10 for 30 overall.
He was traded to the Tampa Bay Rays from the Houston Astros in the Aubrey Huff deal.
Close.
Back in '06. He was just a AA shortstop at the time. And we told you Verlander's got that quick move. Bartlett can't get too far off the bag or he'll get picked off.
Now Bartlett drawing a lot of attention.
It's gotten to the point where some of these guys, especially if you don't have that good percentage like Bartlett does, why would you run?
There he goes. Laird on the money again.
Oh, money.
Gerald Laird just cannot be beaten these days. What a throw that was.
It's comical.
Bartlett's thinking, all right, I'm done with this guy.
He ought to be done with him. Let's take one more look at G Money throwing out Bartlett at second base. First and foremost, take a look at the feet here. He has an idea Bartlett is running, so he quickly turns that shoulder. He gets locked and loaded. He gets the ball up top and makes a very strong, accurate throw. Secondly, look at how Everett takes this throw, how he allows the ball to get all the way to the bag, and all he has to do is drop the tag on the left arm of Bartlett trying to get in there. Several components going to Laird having the chance to get this out, and one of them is Verlander as well, by having such a quick move that you can't get a great jump against him. But these numbers are just crazy.
What if Everett goes out to get that ball and then snatches it back? That may have cost him.
That allows Bartlett to get in underneath the tag. And you see a lot of middle infielders do that, reach out in front of the bag and then come back with the tag, and that costs you.
Well, the Tigers down by a run now. We'll try and get the offense going here in the fourth.
Now, if you're Bartlett, do you continue to try to run? He's thrown you out 3 times in the last 6-7 days.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, try and try again. But 3 times, I don't know. I'm sure it's in the back of his mind. It just has not been successful. Money, or Gerald G Money, has been equal to the task and living up to his nickname, that's for sure. The 0-2 is up high.
I know we watched Pudge Rodriguez, who in my opinion is the best throwing catcher of all time. But we didn't make this much fuss about Pudge Rodriguez.
Well, maybe we expected it out of Pudge with that strong throwing arm that he had.
And a lot of times the teams would simply shut their running game down when Pudge Rodriguez was behind the dish. It's going to get that way with Laird here soon.
Yep, it's getting there. Aubrey Huff, and then Carlos Guillen and Brandon Inge in the fourth against Jeff Neiman. Hold on the ground to second base. Huff is out. 1 gone in the fourth inning, and here is tonight's Aflac trivia question. Aflac! There's the duck, and the question tonight is, who holds the Tampa Bay all-time record for home runs?
Looked like the duck got a little sunburn today.
I didn't notice.
Hanging out at the beach.
What else is there to do in Florida? Hang out at the beach or the pool at the hotel.
Nice relaxing hotel, that much is for certain. You feel like you're on vacation. I don't want to say it too loud, but
no,
you do.
No, we're all business here. All work. Carlos Guillen, the batter. Carlos had an infield hit back in the second. Neiman has yet to have a 1-2-3 inning. Tigers have had their share of base runners in this game. They've had 2 hits. They've had a walk.
The Rays have done a nice job with Neiman. He and Verlander were drafted the same year, 04. Both first-round draft choices, both out of college. Verlander has over 60 wins in the major leagues already, and this is the first full season for Neiman in the big leagues. Go figure.
Developing at different rates. Neiman went to Rice University in Houston, and as a freshman he was pitching the weekday non-conference games, had a really good freshman year, and all of a sudden he was pitching the weekend games his next season. It's skied in the air to left. Harold Crawford under. 2 gone. Matthew Bush was the #1 overall pick that year by San Diego, a shortstop out of high school who is no longer in professional baseball. Then Verlander. Philip Humber is in the big leagues with Minnesota now.
61 wins by Verlander, and Neiman's only pitched in 30 games in his big league career.
2 outs for Brandon Inge. Well, if anything, if nothing else, it illustrates how much of a special talent Verlander is.
For sure.
Brandon popped up his only time up, and he looks at a ball that just missed.
Neiman appears to have that well-located fastball once again against Detroit that he had 5 days ago. On the corners with good movement. Not overpowering velocity-wise, but it can get to be overpowering with the movement that he has on that fastball. And he has used very few secondary pitches because the Tigers have not been able to center that fastball very often.
Here's the 1-2. Two and two on Inge. Now 3-2. Neiman at Rice pitched 3 years there before he signed professionally, and after his 3 years were done at Rice, he was 28-4. An overpowering college career. Now he's brought his act to the big leagues. The 3-2. High in the air toward left center, playable. Carl Crawford coming over, and he'll make the play. Tigers go in order. 3.5 in the books. It is 1-0 Tampa. Aflac Duck would like to know tonight who holds the Tampa Bay all-time record for home runs. Well, it would be somebody you know.
Harper?
Yep. 128. Meanwhile, as we go to the bottom of the fourth, Tampa on top in this one. 1-0 is our score. It'll be Zobrist, who was at the plate when Bartlett was caught stealing in the third. Ground ball right side. Polanco ranging a long way. He's out. Got him by half a step. One gone. Now here are the final numbers on Aubrey in his career, a 7-year career with Tampa. He's up high in a lot of those categories. He was leading in doubles before Crawford overtook this year. Still leads in homers. Quite a career here with the Tampa Bay, at that time, Devil Rays. Here's Carlos Pena.
The Tigers have that Pena shift on right now with Everett on the second base side of second base, along with Polanco and Cabrera. And this shift hadn't worked all that well, though, against Pena. At least not the last 2 games he's played against the Tigers.
That time it worked. Right at Polanco.
Another bullet. He is hitting the ball extremely hard right now. Jim Leland was talking about Polanco and just how valuable a player he is to the Tigers and the organization. He called him a dream and a treat to manage. Always in the right place at the right time, and does not make mistakes defensively, and gets big hit after big hit for you as well.
I guess the best way to describe him is just to say that he's a pro through and through. No balls, 1 strike on Pat Burrell. Verlander looking for the quick inning after having gone deep into some counts. The pitching count, or the pitch count I should say, getting up there, so he'd like a quick 4th inning.
And Jim said Polanco, and these are his words, he says it's like he's like that old shoe, maybe a little worn, but they're awfully comfortable. He says I'm real comfortable with him playing second base every night.
Well, he never makes an error. That'll make you comfortable.
186 airless games, which is a record still that he holds at that second base position.
Well, it's going to be an interesting offseason for Polanco. His contract is up.
Oh, he'll be playing somewhere.
No, there's no question about that.
And it'll be on a winning team too. He's a winning player. I hope it's in Detroit.
High fly ball. Center field, Granderson cruising over. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Justin Verlander. Let's go to the 5th. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. At Bell Tire, you'll get the best tire price period, and out the door with more. and by AT&T, your world delivered. Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, Florida. That is the destination here for game one in this road trip. 3-game set here against the Tampa Bay Rays. How about the Ray tank out there in center field? You ever done that?
I have not.
I cannot build up the courage to go out there and do that. There are 22 Rays in that tank. Tigers batting in the 5th inning against Neiman. It'll be Laird, Everett, and Granderson. They went 1-2-3 in the 4th. And a strike called on Gerald. He had a big at bat back in the 2nd with runners at 1st and 3rd and 1 out, and Neiman struck him out. He swings right through the breaking ball. The count is 0-2. Neiman, a 1st-round pick in the 04 draft. We talked about that draft. He went 4th overall. And finally fulfilling the promise here at the big league level. The 0-2 pitch. Bounced in, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, one of the reasons why he's having so much success against Detroit again here tonight, he is 14 of 17 in first pitch strikes. He is getting ahead of just about every Tigers hitter that has come to the dish tonight. And it's not an easy thing to do for a veteran pitcher, let alone a rookie. He just saw Detroit 5 days ago, so you would think that the Tigers would make some adjustments, but it appears that Neiman has made adjustments on his own as well.
Here's the 1-2. Bouncing ball back up the middle. Zobrist at second base. And 1 gone. Well, the opening weekend of college football includes these games across the Fox Sports Detroit outlets. The lineup features appearances by number 4 USC, top-ranked Florida. HD games include Tennessee from the SEC, and a big rivalry game in Colorado gets the action this weekend on Fox Sports Detroit and Fox Sports Detroit Plus.
Now, who is Florida playing? Charleston Southern.
Charleston Southern, yeah. I wonder what the spread on that game is. It's got to be like 70-something. It has to be. There's a strike call on Adam Everett. College football is back. Here's the 0-1. 0-2 on Adam Everett. Even, for as big as he is, he just never seems to be laboring out there. Got a fluid delivery. Fly ball left field. Kyle Crawford cruising over. 2 gone, and now Neiman getting on a roll here. It's 7 straight he's retired. Back up to the top of the order, Curtis Granderson, who has had little, if no luck against Neiman. He has struck out twice against him. Curtis had an RBI single against Neiman the last time he faced him back at Comerica Park. Wow. Fouled straight back.
Curtis looking at the hat trick in the 5th inning.
It's not going to happen. Not going to happen.
Huh?
Nope.
Have you seen some of them swings you've taken in now?
Okay, maybe, but he's not going to do it. One and 2. Neiman will make you do that, I suppose.
He is impressive. I mean, it's the 2nd time we've seen him. I am really impressed with what he's been doing. He's got 12 wins.
High fly ball.
You were right.
Into center. Perez under it, and the side retired. You're watching Tigers baseball tonight on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by your Chrysler and Jeep Superstores. And by Wallside Windows. We can do that. We are the factory. He caught it finally. Chasing that thing around. Back here at Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, Florida tonight, Tigers and Rays. We expected a pitching duel. We got ourselves one. It is 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Verlander will face Longoria, Gross, and Navarro. Tampa got a run in the 2nd. Longoria delivered that run with an RBI double to left. 95 RBIs for Longoria, now 10 for his last 19 at bats. He hammers this one in the air. Deep center field, not deep enough. One gone. So Verlander now has retired 5 straight. That'll bring up Gabe Gross. Verlander has given up only 2 Tampa hits. The 2 doubles in the 2nd, which provided their run.
That is typically Verlander, and he'll give you 1 inning, and where he opens the door a little bit for you to score some runs, and it's usually just 1 inning. And let's hope that that was their inning in the 2nd when they had that 1 run they scored.
Well, when you look at his numbers this year, and for Verlander, this start is his 29th. In only 1 start has he given up double-digit hits. That's it, just 1 start.
Oh, brother.
Everything else is pretty much in the 5, 6, 7 hit range.
With a boatload of strikeouts.
Balled inside.
The majority of the fastballs that he has thrown here tonight have been 95 miles an hour and above.
1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out here in the 5th. Straight back, 1-2. The count stays on Gabe Gross, who struck out back in the 2nd. It's been a relatively quiet strikeout game for Verlander, 3 so far.
Which kind of bodes well for him if he's going to stay around a while, because he's already thrown 75 pitches.
Pulled and caught by Polanco on a leap. Took a hit away from Gross.
As a middle infielder, you know what signs are being called. In this case, Polanco knew a changeup was coming, and usually the left-handed batter will get out in front of the changeup and pull it. And by him anticipating that, able to make a very nice play.
Here's Deoner Navarro with 2 away. Popped up his first time, and he looks at strike 1.
Starting to see more and more baseball players wearing mouthpieces these days.
We got to look into that. Just a wave and a miss.
Of course, Granderson wears one now, and of course Navarro has one in.
The 0-2 is hit back up the middle. Everett waits on the hop, has time. Navarro is out. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Verlander. He's retired 7 straight. Not a whole lot of scoring to talk about in this game. The only run coming in the 2nd inning.
It was a ball that a good fastball by Verlander in on the hands of Longoria, who is sizzling hot, and was able to plate Carlos Pena, who doubled to lead off the inning.
RBI 95 for Longoria.
Go, girl.
She's not holding back, is she?
Future dancing star.
It's exactly what Rod does up here in the booth between innings.
I wish I could move that fast.
Neiman back to the hill as we go now to the top of the 6th. Tigers trying to get her going here as Polanco leads it off, and he takes strike 1.
Boy, is he pounding that strike zone.
Well, he's retired 8 straight. We got Polanco, Thomas, and Cabrera in this game, or this inning, I should say. And Placido had an infield hit back in the third, 1 for 2.
17 of 20 first pitch strikes.
1 ball and 1 strike on Polanco. Slaps that one back the other way, but a backhanded play by Zobrist. That's 9 straight set down by Neiman. There's Clee Thomas. Thomas a walk and a strikeout. Well, only 2 Tampa hits, but only 3 for Detroit. It looked like that second inning might be the start of a big inning. A leadoff double by Huff, an infield hit by Guillen, but they failed to score. And then Polanco had his infield hit in the third, the only 3 Tigers hits. In the air toward left. Crawford backing up. Neiman's making it look easy. That's 10 in a row. And that brings up Miguel Cabrera. Oh for 2 for Cabrera. Neiman's pitch count right now in decent shape, 76 as we play here in the 6th inning. Inside. 2-0. Cabrera, we talk about the fact that he was held in check by Tampa, just 1 for 14 in that series last week at Comerica, but then he rebounded nicely and was 4 for 9 against the Indians, picking it back up a little bit. And now he's run the count in his favor, 3-1. Whistles a fastball right at his knees, foul down the left field line. So it's 3-2. Now the 3-2 pitch. Fouled back out of play, perhaps back toward the seats, and Pena runs out of room. Neiman now has put together a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings. He's looking for his 3rd straight. Tiger bats quiet tonight with just 3 hits. They have stranded 4 runners. And again the 3-2. Swung on, belted high in the air, deep in left field, way back, and Cabrera has gone deep. It's a home run. Miguel Cabrera has tied it up. It's a 1-1 ball game. Number 28 for Miguel. The Tigers fans loving it.
And there are a lot of Tiger fans here. Of course, the Tigers train in nearby Lakeland. Threw him a 3-2 changeup. Probably his 3rd best pitch. And big fella leaned on one.
I thought for a moment might go to the upper deck.
His first time up today, Cabrera just missed from hitting one into that upper deck.
Boy, do the Tigers need that. They finally get a run on the board, and here's Aubrey Huff. Cabrera also picks up his 84th RBI. see if this one stays in play. Navarro with a sliding attempt, couldn't get there.
Apparently Longoria must have been playing the shortstop position with the shift that they have on Huff, because most third basemen are able to get to that ball, but not from where he is playing. He is basically playing in the hole at shortstop.
1-1 on Huff. Aubrey had a double. He has also bounced out. .128 home runs, the all-time leader in Tampa history. 7 seasons with the Rays. 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes on Aubrey Huff. Tigers have been able to equal this one up now in 1 run. They pick up their 4th hit of the game. A home run by Cabrera with 2 outs. Neiman was cruising along, had retired 10 straight before the homer. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Aubrey stays alive. Meanwhile, in the Central Division, Cleveland is leading Minnesota, bottom of the 7th, 4-2. Oh, Chicago jumping all over Boston, 7-0.
Who started for Boston today? Paul Bird?
Yep. 3-2. Chicago put up a 5 spot in the 3rd. (3-2) on Aubrey Huff. Pulled fair again. Same spot that he hit his double in the 2nd. He'll be motoring out there. Here comes the throw, not in time. This time it's a sliding double for Aubrey Huff, his 2nd of the game.
Well, apparently Aubrey very comfortable hitting in this ballpark. He spent a number of years wearing this uniform. He got him a breaking ball. He got out in front of it just a little bit, and he hooked the ball right past Pena. It's the 2nd double he has hit in that exact same spot. But Aubrey pretty much is a dead pull hitter anyway. 47 to the pull field, 50 right back up to middle, very few to left field. Lloyd McClendon called him a hooker the other day when we were talking about his swing. Hooks everything down that right field line.
2 good examples of that tonight. Ball down low to Guillen.
You know, Aubrey came out and took some extra batting practice at Comerica Park a couple of days ago. He was like a 3 for 34 slump. Had not done a whole lot since putting on a Tigers uniform, and Lloyd said, Rod, what am I going to do? We got a month to go. I can't perform major surgery on his swing. This guy knows how to hit. He's going to hit, and we're going to continue to show some confidence in him.
Well, based on his previous numbers as a terrific RBI man, I mean, you figure that sooner or later he would have figured it out down the stretch, and we're certainly seeing signs now.
Yeah, they're just going to go ahead and walk Carlos now. They weren't going to pitch to him anyway with the base open and 2 outs, and Brandon in the batter's box, in the on deck circle, I should say.
Soon to be in the batter's box. There is ball 4, the intentional walk to Carlos Guillen.
That's good baseball. Smart move by a smart manager. This time last year, the Rays had 10 more wins than they do right now. And it's not so much that they've done anything wrong in their division. They just weren't able to add a CC Sabathia, a Mark Teixeira, and an A.J. Burnett, as the Yankees were able to do. And Boston continues to pick up everybody that they could possibly find as well.
Well, that and the fact that, and the Rays have admitted this, everything that could go right last year went right. And they just had one of those seasons. Where this year they've had to deal with a few other things.
Kind of like the Tigers in 2006 until those final
Yep.
That final month.
No question. And then, of course, the Tigers regroup to get to the World Series. But it just goes to show how difficult it is to repeat year after year. Very difficult.
Cannot take it for granted. Aubrey Huff has said as much. He has been in the big leagues for 10 years, and this is the first time he has been in the pennant race.
Brandon Inge rolls one foul. So it'll be up to Inge here with 2 outs. Brandon 0 for 2, pop up and a fly ball. We're in the 6th inning, 1-1 tie thanks to the 2-out home run by Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, this is the hardest that they have made Neiman work all night long.
He was flying along. All of a sudden now his pitch count is getting up there.
Closing in on 100. They're going to start watching him very close anyway. He's over 150 innings pitched now this season. And that's usually the barometer, that number that pitching coaches and managers want to stay away from. They don't want to get too much more than that. Neiman better duck. He's 6 feet 9 inches.
Navarro came up throwing, and Huff got back there easily. 2 balls, 1 strike. And Brandon Inge. Tigers have Huff and Guillen on the bases. And he got him to hit it in the air. Shallow left. Carl Crawford coming in under it, and that is that. So the Tigers will settle for a tie right now. And they tie it up on one mighty swing from Miguel Cabrera. Cabby with home run number 28.
It's the 6th inning, and that means it's time for Coors Light Freeze Can. Polanco hit a ball right at Carlos Pena. Took a wicked hop on Pena. Zobrist, the second baseman, able to get to it. Neiman got to the bag, but Polanco beat him by an eyelash. Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by your Frost Brewed Coors Light. Also, when Polanco was running down the first base line, if you didn't notice, I'm going to tell you, he touched the first part of the bag that he could touch, which is very important when running down that line. That was the difference in him being safe and being out.
Well, Verlander now in a 1-1 game will face the Rays here in the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Fernando Perez leading it off, the number 9 hitter, who Verlander struck out back in the 3rd. Perez, then Bartlett, and then Crawford. Tigers a run on 5 hits. The Rays a run on 2 hits.
Perez spent very little time in the major leagues last year for Tampa, but he found himself on the World Series roster because of his ability to run and play defense.
2 critical things, I think, when you get to postseason play. Obviously, you want a guy that can come in and play some good defense at the back end of ball games, and maybe a guy to come off the bench and steal a base or pinch run.
Because usually the teams that have the best pitching, they usually win in the postseason.
Two balls, 2 strikes on the number 9 hitter, Fernando Perez. He's an Ivy Leaguer, by the way, went to Columbia.
That means he's a bright fella.
That's sliced to left field, a base hit. So Verlander had a string of 7 straight retired. That comes to an end.
Well, we'll see if Perez will try to steal a base against Gerald Laird. If you weren't with us, I told you that Perez has some really good speed.
Perez stole as many as 57 one year in A ball. Jason Bartlett has a strikeout and a walk.
Tampa doesn't bunt very much. They don't give away outs. And they do not sacrifice bunt all that often. But we told you earlier in the game that Bartlett has not gotten a hit off Verlander in his career. Would not be all bad to sacrifice here and get a couple of your RBI men up to the plate.
Runner going. He shows bunt. Here comes the throw down to second. Look at Gerald Laird.
This is not even funny anymore.
Oh, my goodness.
This is just, I mean, I've never, ever seen anything like the way that this boy is throwing that pelota down to second base. It's fascinating. It's not even close.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Impressive. Everett waiting for the tag just like he was waiting for Bartlett back in the third. The other runner he threw out.
How can you be so accurate, though, with every throw?
I don't know. I mean, even the times in which he does not catch a runner, his throws are right on the money. He's at 42%. And he's now caught 33 runners this year. Swing and a miss. Bartlett retired. And just like that, the bases are empty with 2 gone.
Laird has caught 20 of the last 29. 20 of the last 39, excuse me.
Amazing.
What a nice luxury to have. And they don't come any faster than some of these guys he's been throwing out, too.
That is true. Here's Crawford. What a great equalizer. How that can just change the complexion of an inning.
Keeps double plays in order.
Well, that's true, and that's something you don't think about, you know, let alone guys getting thrown out. But if they're not running and they stay at first base, it does keep a chance for a double play alive. Verlander just brought that home. He was in his windup.
I mean, if you're the Rays, and that's part of your game, and it is part of their game. They have 169 stolen bases, which leads the world. But Laird is taking you out of your game.
1-2 on Crawford. He's 0 for 2. Toward left field, slicing away, but it will be caught on the run by Guillen. So the inning is over. Gerald Laird working his magic again.
And let's take a look at Verlander's night. Verlander has 4 strikeouts. It's our bell tower pitch by pitch. It doesn't matter what pitch it is, the fastball or the changeup. He's got a curveball, he's got a slider, and he uses them all effectively. And he has pitched a very good game.
Meanwhile, here is our Comerica game summary. In a 1-1 ball game in the 7th, Gerald Laird has caught 2 more tonight. Justin Verlander's numbers. And Miguel Cabrera with a solo home run, providing the Tigers run here tonight. 1 run, 5 hits for Detroit. They tied it up in the 6th, and we'll see if they can go ahead now here in the 7th. Laird will lead it off. He'll be followed by Everett and then Curtis Granderson. Neiman is back out there. And the first pitch, and for a strike 0-1. As we start this inning, the Rays will get the bullpen working in case Neiman needs some help. That's pulled to third, right at Evan Longoria. 0 for 3 for Laird, 1 gone. It's going to bring up Adam Everett. Everett is 0 for 2, couple of fly balls.
Evan Longoria is giving Everett too much room down in third. He's starting to creep in a little bit, but he got a lot of room down there.
No balls, 2 strikes. And Adam Everett. Check the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. As you see, home plate umpire Mike Riley indicating the scoreboard had 0-2 here. 1-1. Tigers Tigers starting a 3-game series here with Verlander going tonight. We're going to have Galarraga tomorrow, and then Jackson, the former Ray, going in the final game. Hit slowly toward third. Barehanding is Longoria. Whoa. It's a good play.
We saw him make a play like that at Comerica Park as well last week, coming in, catching that ball in the palm of the hand, transferring it to the fingertips, and then flipping it, pulling it over to first base. The old pull it play.
2 gone. Top of the order now. Curtis Granderson.
If he tries to catch that ball with the glove and then exchange to the throwing hand, Everett gets a base hit.
Curtis takes a strike, drops in nicely from Neiman. 0-1. Randy is 0 for 3, pair of strikeouts and a fly to center. So Joe Madden hoping that Neiman can get through the 7th. They have some activity in their bullpen. The pitch count over 100 now for Neiman. It's at 105. And that misses high. Grant Balfour is the right-hander.
Bobby Ramos, bullpen coach.
Two and 2. Swing and a miss. Granderson fans for the 3rd time in this game. Neiman gets them 1-2-3 stretch time here in St. Pete. Well, the Detroit Tigers today released this statement on the health condition of Hall of Fame announcer Ernie Harwell. On behalf of the entire Detroit Tigers organization and Detroit Tigers fans everywhere, we will keep Ernie, his wife Lulu, and the Harwell family in our thoughts and prayers as he faces a courageous battle against a serious illness. Ernie continues to be a big part of Tigers history. We look forward to him sharing in the 25th anniversary celebration of the '84 World Championship team later this month. That statement today coming from the Detroit Tigers organization. And our well wishes as well to Ernie and Lulu as they get through this time. Ben Zobrist leading it off here in the 7th inning.
You look up class in the dictionary and you will find Ernie Harwell's name right next to it.
Zobrist looking at his strike. Well, Ernie, a mentor to a lot in this business, myself included. Zobrist 0 for 2 with a couple of ground balls. Two balls and 1 strike now on Zobrist. Pena and Burrell to follow here in the 7th. Verlander and Neiman hooked up in a 1-1 game. It is rifled foul, running the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, if you'd like to send your cards and letters to Ernie Harwell, you can do so in care of S. Gary Spicer. There's the address, 16845 Kirchville, Suite 5 in Grosse Pointe, 48230. And those letters will be hand delivered to Ernie himself. And there is strike 3 as Zobrist is punched out of there. 1 away. Here is Carlos Pena.
Carlos Pena has hit a couple of balls extremely hard in this game. A double his first time up in right center field that got all the way to the gate. And then he hit one very sharp at Polanco as well. Right into the teeth of the way they're playing him.
One ball, no strikes on Carlos Pena. Doubled and scored a run back in the 2nd. He bounced out in the 4th.
I was standing around the batting cage today when the Rays were taking BP, and I was talking to my good buddy Steve Henderson, who's their hitting coach, and Pena comes out and he brings him a cookie and he brings him some water. And Steve said that Pena always, when he has a good game, brings him out a cookie and some water. I mean, that's just kind of like one of the rituals that they have. Meanwhile, Steve says he's putting on the pounds.
Oh, really? That's a stunner.
He told me that. He brought him a cookie on a little small saucer plate, and he brought him some water.
Okay, now why not?
And he had to eat the cookie.
Why not milk instead of water?
I don't know. And Steve said he has to eat the cookie. I'm sure he ain't complaining all that much, though. It's a good man, Steve Henderson.
Pena's put together another 2-hit night here, and the go-ahead run is on for Pat Burrell.
First time I got to the big leagues in '83 in Seattle, Steve was one of the outfielders on the team, along with Al Cowens and Dave Henderson. Those were the 3 starting outfielders.
And Cowens, a former Tiger.
Yeah.
There's a strike called on Burrell.
Nickname Ace.
Cowens was?
Yeah, that was his nickname, Ace. He passed away a few years back.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Lifted foul, first base side. Cabrera bolting in after it, but he won't get there.
Well, you might as well go ahead and climb the ladder. That was another really good fastball against Burrell. And he has a tough time catching up to those mid-90s fastballs with that long uppercut swing he has.
Here's the activity. Howell and Balfour. Choate was warming up earlier. Now it's Howell. That'll move the count now to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pat Burrell, 9 years in a Phillies uniform. Did some damage there.
He got him that World Series ring before he left there.
That's line to left field, sinking and caught on a slide by Guillen.
Verlander got lucky there. That's really the only pitch that Burrell can hit against him. And he threw him that breaking ball, and he sped his bat up, and he laced a seed to left field, albeit for an out.
Carlos is playing so deep he had to come in and slide for that ball. Wasn't hit very high. Here's Evan Longoria. Ball 1. Longoria doubled in a run back in the second. And to this point, the only Tampa run. Swings right through it. 97 miles an hour. 1-1. Tigers last year in this ballpark were 0-3.
There weren't a lot of teams that came in here and won games last year. They had a crazy home record last year, did the Tampa Bay Rays.
So Verlander again at 97, misses though, and the count goes to 3-1. Rays got a run in the second. Tigers answered with 1 in the 6th on the Cabrera homer. Swing and a miss.
Here it is. Hit it, young man. My best against your best. 3-1 fastball. Split the plate right down the middle. His next pitch might be at 100 miles an hour.
Swing and a miss. 98, close enough.
He's a bad boy. I mean, he's a bad boy.
Tigers baseball presented tonight by Bell Tire.
Well, if you're Evan Longoria, you have to appreciate the fact that Verlander came right after you with a 3-1 fastball at 98, and he followed that up with a 3-2 heater right down the middle, maybe a tad high, but he came right after you. You have to respect that fact if you're Longoria. He's got him scratching his head.
You know, Verlander's had a lot of guys scratching their heads this year. All the strikeouts he's racked up. Can the Tigers get another run? Here's Polanco leading it off, and a lazy fly ball to center for out number 1. So Polanco on 1 pitch is retired. Meanwhile, Neiman's still out there. They're letting him go tonight. Here's Cleet Thomas. Neiman had an easy 1-2-3 7th. So he's back out for more work here in the 8th. Thomas 0 for 2, had a base on balls in the first inning. Most pitches that Neiman has thrown in a game this year is 118. There's a bunt, but it's going to go foul.
It's a great idea, though.
Oh, 0-2 on Cleet. Jim Leland hoping his team could find some way to muster some offense late in this game. In a lot of ways, this game is mirroring the game that these two fellas pitched against each other last time when Polanco hit a 3-run homer in the 8th to bring the Tigers back. They were down by a couple of runs. Here's the 1-2. Tipped it into the glove. There's strike 3. 2 gone. How about the DMC in-game box score for the Tigers tonight? Not a whole lot going on.
Nope. Mr. Neiman has pretty much kept the Tigers in check, with the exception of Cabrera getting loose for that solo home run. Aubrey Huff, a couple of doubles.
Skipper having a conversation with Mike Riley. I think Leland may be arguing whether or not, or at least asking whether or not that ball hit the ground on the foul tip.
Did Leland say whether he went to go visit his good buddy Don Zimmer in the hospital today?
He was scheduled to do it.
I saw him walking around the hotel early this morning, about 9:30. Had his briefcase. He was all dressed and ready to go.
Yep.
Said he was going to visit his buddy.
Check swing by Cabrera. Of course, Zimmer had some back surgery, and they are very good friends.
Don Zimmer has been a mentor to a lot of good baseball people, and Jim would fall into that category. And Zimmer is a funny man.
The 0-1 pitch. Ground ball, base hit left field, out of the reach of Longoria.
That may be it for Neiman.
So they've got the lefty warming up. You've got the lefty coming up in Huff. And now you've got Joe Madden making his way out.
Tigers have a lot of players on their bench to counter this move, should Jim want to counter the move.
So Howell is going to come in. That's going to be it for Neiman. All side windows, pitching change.
Hey fans, take advantage of the September double play for all Monday through Thursday home games between now and September 17th. Get 2 outfield box tickets for $49, a savings of $15. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com.
Well, the Tigers will counter that move with a move of their own. Maglio Ordonez will pinch hit. He's batting for Huff, who had 2 doubles in this game.
Left-handers are hitting 100 points higher against Howell than right-handers are.
That doesn't make sense.
100 points higher. The opponent's batting average overall is really not all that high. Sub 200 at 188. And so he's having a great year out of the bullpen with 16 saves as well. But the righties have touched him up for 6 home runs. 260. Lefties hit against him. He's got that real good fading changeup away from the right-handers. There it was.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Maglio is a pinch hitter this year, is 1 for 6. Here's the 1-2. Fought it off. Two-out single by Cabrera, his second hit tonight, keeping the inning going. J.P. Howell trying to get the final out here in the 8th. Swing and a miss. And he does just that. He strikes out Ordonez. Tigers leave a man. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Gross, Navarro, Perez coming up. Here we go to the bottom of the 8th inning at Tropicana Field. It is a 1-1 game. The numbers on Justin Verlander tonight. In pitches by inning shows that he had a little bit of trouble early in this game, especially the second inning. But boy, from the 4th inning on, very economical. And he has thrown 111 pitches. He's facing the bottom of the lineup here. Gross, Navarro, and Perez. First pitch outside, 1-0.
Usually great pitchers, and Verlander would fall into that category. They give you 1 inning to kind of get to him. And when Verlander threw 26 pitches in that second inning, that was the inning where they tried to score a few. Since then, they really have done little against Justin.
There is, for the first time, some action, though, in the Detroit bullpen.
The old famous sea line.
And awfully good. They're warming up. Two balls, 1 strike on Gabe Gross. He's 0 for 2, strikeout, and a line out.
If you're wondering where Verlander gets all his power from, just look at his legs. I mean, he's got muscles bulging out of those pants. Very strong lower half. And that's where you get that drive from. Yes, he's blessed with a tremendous right arm, but he's got a lot of power in those legs. Big legs.
2-2 on Gabe Gross. Verlander has scattered 4 hits. That's all tonight. They got a run in the second, nothing since. Swing and a miss. He takes care of Gross, and there's another strikeout for Verlander.
He's looking like a young Tom Seaver or a young Nolan Ryan out there with the way that he uses his lower half. Drop and drive. Overpowered. Look at the legs. Gets to a nice balance point right there and gets it all together and comes after you with that stiff front leg.
7 strikeouts now for Justin. Fouled away. Deanna Navarro is 0 for 2.
Ooh, close. I mean, you go from 97, 98 with a fastball, and you come back and with a pitch that slow from the same arm slot, same arm speed. That's why he's tough to hit.
And Verlander now, his pitch count getting up there. 119.
And Jim is trying to do what he did last time Verlander was out there and let him stay in there long enough until the offense possibly shows up to get him a win.
Last game he threw 125 pitches against this Devil Rays, or this Rays club. I did it, didn't I?
Did you?
I
You almost made it through the year
no.
too.
Oh well.
See, I did that to you.
It just, it takes a lot of practice. It's just impossible.
Well, they were 10 years of the Devil Rays, weren't
right. They were indeed. Still throwing 97 here in the 8th inning.
That's what's impressive about him. He does not lose velocity late in the game. As a matter of fact, he picks up the velocity a tick or two.
Here's the 1-2. Popped him up. Here comes Cabrera. 2 gone.
Hey fans, you can visit the official online shop of the Detroit Tigers at tigers.com. Browse the largest selection of authentic Tigers gear, including clubhouse caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and a whole lot more. Get your Tigers gear straight from the source at the tigers.com shop. Papa got a brand new bag.
Here's Fernando Perez.
You like that?
I like that, man. That's sweet. You are Mr. Lyric.
Now Perez is a young fella, but he comes out to an old school guy, James Brown.
That's a good point. Somebody must have, in his youth, shown him the ways of James Brown, and he got hooked on it. The 0-1. Slapped back out of play.
Now Ricky Henderson late in his career used to come out to James Brown music. Of course, Ricky was 40 years old.
True. Oh, 0-2. And Perez takes high.
And Comcast is telling us that JV has touched 98 a few times today and has gone as low as 78 with a changeup. As a matter of fact, he just threw a changeup at 78 miles an hour to Navarro.
They pull this one to second base for Polanco stationed, and the side retired. A 1-2-3 inning. Justin Verlander hoping his team can get some offense in the 9th. It is time to bring you up to speed with the AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. What's happening with our text poll question? Never mind. We'll get back to it. 1-1 is our score as we go to the 9th inning. And the Tigers will have Ryan Rayburn to pinch hit. So Rayburn is the 2nd consecutive pinch hitter used by Jim Leyland. He had Maglio, who struck out to end the 8th, and now Rayburn batting for Guillen here in the 9th inning.
And Jim apparently not concerned with the numbers that Hal has posted against right-handed hitters. Of course, Carlos Guillen cannot bat right-handed. He would have had to hit left-handed had he gone to the plate.
Rayburn 10 home runs, a career high. Inside.
Hal does not throw very hard, but he gives you pretty good arm speed. And it looks like the hitters are a little out in front of all the off-speed pitches that he will throw.
Now it's 3-0.
That's his fastball, 84 miles an hour, little cutter. Well, Jim's been green lighting a lot of these guys lately. 3 balls and no strikes. He may do that for Ryan to see if he can run into one.
And instead he takes ball 4, so the go-ahead run is aboard. We promised you the updated numbers on the poll question. Here they are. Verlander's biggest competition for the Cy Young this year, 37%. Right now we're saying CC Sabathia. Greinke right behind him at 35%. You can still vote.
A lot of our voters don't know about Hernandez either. Or maybe they do.
Nate Robertson loading up. Gum time. The return of Gum time. He had a cheek full of gum.
He was good yesterday.
Yeah, he was.
6 innings of scoreless baseball.
Brandon Inge. Takes high. Oh, yeah, he is. There he goes. Easy, big fella. Jeez.
He got a smile out of Verlander.
Yeah, he sure did. Some of the call-ups probably wondering what in the world's he doing. Way inside. Navarro goes down to block it. Rayburn aboard on the leadoff walk here in the 9th. 1-1 ball game. That pitch might have kicked some dirt up in the eye of Deanna Navarro.
He still got his little mohawk going too.
Ground ball, foul, third base side.
Yeah, nothing is going to get down that line past Longoria. And Joe Madden, their manager, basically has him playing no doubles. I mean, when you play that close to the line, and you add in the fact that Brandon Inge hits a lot of balls to the full field.
One and two. Again, Navarro has to go down and get it. Look at Robertson. Oh my gosh. Fernando Rodney tuning up.
Looks like Rodney's going to come in the game no matter what. Even if it's a tie game still.
Swing and a miss. So Howell comes back and gets Inge. One gone.
Well, if you're Ryan Rayburn, you have to try to figure out a way to get down to second base. We've already watched Howell bounce a few breaking balls, a few changeups, while Inge was up there. So if you're Rayburn, you have to anticipate that and see if you can get yourself down to second base.
Marcus Thames picks up a bat.
Your attention, please. Hitting for Laird, number 33, Marcus Thames.
So Thames for Laird. 1 on, 1 out. Splits on Marcus. Facing the lefty Howell here in the 9th. A leadoff walk to Rayburn, and now with 1 out, here's Thames. Ball inside and low.
Well, Howell needs to be careful going inside against Marcus. And that's Marcus's happy zone. Ball's down and in with that uppercut. Home run swing.
Two 2-0 the count. Marcus sitting pretty good right here. Cleveland's team with 6 hits tonight. The home run by Cabrera in the 6th tied it up. He had a rip.
That's one of the things that makes Howell so tough. He stands on the third base side of the rubber, the pitching mound. I mean, right on the corner. I mean, really, his toe is the only thing that's touching the rubber, and he has the ability to throw that changeup that still fades away from the right-handers. That last pitch he threw to Marcus.
Another swing and a miss. 2-2.
Same type pitch. Look at the movement here. What is that?
Oh, I don't know. From a lefty.
It's almost like a screwball. But what makes it effective is where he is standing on the rubber.
Now the count is full at 3-2.
Boy, do you dare send Rayburn? Yeah. This is where the managers, boy, they get paid all the big bucks to make these kinds of decisions, because you know Raybur's not going to be able to get a good jump with the left-hander on the mound.
Navarro's at 25%, and they'll throw back. Well, the other half, he says as well, the Tigers just have not been able to do anything offensively. Maybe try and force the issue here, but if Tim strikes out,
exactly, which he will do on occasion.
Runner is holding, and it is ball four. Thames gets a walk.
Great at bat by Marcus.
So 2 on with 1 out. Going to bring up Everett. Comes Joe Madden out again. We got a lefty and a righty warming up in their bullpen. Springer is the right-hander. Choate is the left-hander. Bobby Ramos is the bullpen coach down there. Meanwhile, it is a final in Cleveland. Is the good news coming? It is. Cleveland beat Minnesota 5-2. So pending the outcome of this game here, the Tigers are either going to be 6 up or remain 5 up. Another golden opportunity for Detroit. Meanwhile, Chicago putting a hurting on Boston.
Well, Mark Kotze, he started the year with Boston. He's beating up on Boston today.
Yeah.
Playing for the White Sox.
Here's Everett. Line drive left field. That's a fair ball down the line. This will get a run in. Rayburn will score. Adam Everett from the 9-hole gives the Tigers the lead.
They're going to get Verlander another win here today. And you can thank Rayburn and also Marcus Thames for this ball being up in the strike zone, because they had been laying off the borderline pitches at the bottom of the strike zone. That's that same little screwball type pitch that they threw to the other guys that was up. And Everett comes through.
Look at gum time. Robertson taking the credit. Verlander says thank you. So Verlander will have a chance to win this game.
Marcus and Rayburn had really good at-bats.
Yeah, they sure did. And Howell is done for the evening. Tigers take their first lead of the night. That is their 7th hit. And for Everett, his 39th RBI. Lots of smiles right now on that Tigers bench, but they would love to get a few more here. Walk to Rayburn, 1 out, walk to Thames, and a single by Adam Everett. And Randy Choate will come on to face Curtis Granderson.
Everett has gotten some big hits this year for the Tigers. He got a boatload of these types of hits earlier in the season. He was hitting right around 300. He looked for something up in the strike zone. He got it, and he didn't miss it. And even though that ball was kind of fading away from him, the lack of velocity allowed him to pull that ball to left. It's a big base hit by Adam.
7th hit of the game for the Tigers, and they've taken a 2-1 lead. Here are the numbers on Randy Choate.
Numbers not bad. And he's been in 45 games, but he's only logged 26 innings, which would classify him as the situational left-hander out of Joe Madden's bullpen.
So Curtis Granderson will come in here with only one out. Tigers have Wilkin Ramirez now pinch running at second base to give them a lot more speed down there.
Wilkin Ramirez is a big boy.
Let's see if Granderson can get him home. Lefty facing lefty. Curtis this year 179 against left-handed pitching. And he pulls this one into right field. Here comes Ramirez to third. They're going to send him around. Gross's throw coming to the plate. Not in time. Safe.
What a slide by Ramirez. Because Navarro was not giving him any plate whatsoever to touch. And Marcus Thames does not score on that.
So 179 or not against lefties. Granderson comes through.
And Granderson was having a rough day. He had struck out 3 times, but he got the first fastball that he was looking for. And Gross comes up in right field and fires a strike to home plate. But look at the slide by Wilkin Ramirez. I mean, there's nothing to tag, but somehow he sneaks in and gets the back of the plate. Cornflakes Riley is right there and makes a good call.
Gumtime's pouring it on now. 3-1. I think you're right there. I don't think Thames scores on that play.
No, I don't think so.
So Jim Leland brings in the speedster Wilkin Ramirez. One of the call-ups from AAA. Randy Cho comes on, faces one batter, and he's done. It's going to mean Springer will come into the game.
If you're Ramirez, you can see out of the corner of your eye, once you round third base, you know that Gross has got the ball in his hands and he's throwing the ball home. And regardless of what the catcher's doing, whether he's trying to deke you or not, you know you've got to slide, and he gets in there with a great slide.
So the rookie comes up from Toledo and he chips in here in the pennant race, scoring a run. Springer now is on for Tampa Bay.
I saw Springer at the hotel. Apparently he is staying at the same hotel that we are, because they basically just got him, so he doesn't have a place here in St. Petersburg. But he told me that he is healthier now than he was back in his 20s.
Wow.
Springer had lots of different arm ailments and problems and has spent a lot of time on the disabled list, but at age 40, he's rejuvenated.
9th big league team. Tigers come through against one of the top bullpens of the American League, Tampa's.
Let's take one more look at Ramirez, and I'm still trying to figure out how in the world he was able to get his hand on the backside of that plate, but he did.
That's an amazing slide. And that shot right there showed how difficult and how little room he had actually to avoid the leg of Deanna Navarro.
If you're Navarro, you don't want to do that too often, though, especially with a guy running as big and strong and physical as a Wilkin Ramirez. He could have cleaned Navarro's clock.
Here's Polanco. Tigers trying to add more. They lead 3-1. Polanco is 1 for 4. Had an infield single back in the third.
He always seems to come up in these types of situations where there's runners out in scoring position, less than 2 outs.
Fly ball right field.
And gets it done again.
Tagging up at third base, Everett. He'll come in to score. Throw comes back into second. Sac fly for Placido Polanco. And another RBI, his 61st of the year. The Tigers add another. They've scored 3 in this inning.
It took a little while for the offense to get rolling, but boy, have they gotten it rolling here in the 9th.
Not so coincidentally with the departure of Neiman. They've gotten it done against the bullpen. So the RBIs in the inning to Everett, Granderson, and Polanco. Here's Cleet Thomas with 2 outs. Tigers have 8 hits. Ball 1.
Well, if Granderson's going to get to 30 steals this year, he's going to have to start running.
Well, he's going to need 10 more down the stretch here. Granderson has 20.
Granderson is one of 3 to have a couple of 20-plus home run seasons and 20-plus stolen bases. Kirk Gibson did it 4 times. Alan Trammell did it a couple of times. So that's rare company indeed.
1-2 on Cleet. The Rays in the 9th inning will have the top of their lineup: Bartlett, Crawford, and Zobrist.
Which will take a little stress off the youngster Avila if he's the one that comes in to catch, because he won't have to worry so much about those speedsters that will possibly try to steal a base if they get on in the bottom half of the 9th. Those 3 guys you mentioned, they have a total of 99 stolen bases between the 3.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Cleet Thomas. Start of what promises to be a really interesting series here. These 2 teams split a 4-gamer back at Comerica. This one has been tight all night long. Fouled away.
Also on a night where they could have picked up some ground on the Boston Red Sox, they may not be able to do so depending on the outcome of this one.
They desperately needed to pick up ground.
Verlander still marching toward that Cy Young award.
Swing and a miss. Thomas goes down to retire the side, but a huge inning for the Tigers. They scored 3 times to break the tie. It started with Adam Everett from the number 9 slot. He drove in a run to break the tie. Granderson drives in another. Wilkin with a great slide. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, standing the test of time since 1849, and by Beaumont Hospitals. Do you have a Beaumont doctor? This is the pier here in St. Pete, where the Tigers looking to grab a victory here tonight. They lead it 4-1 as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The guy on the left is feeling a whole lot better than the guy on the right, and as Rodney takes over, he'll have to face the top of the lineup: Bartlett, Crawford, and Zobrist. 3-run Tigers lead, and the first pitch way outside to Bartlett. He has fanned a couple of times and has walked. Verlander goes 8 very strong innings tonight. 1 run, 4 hits. That's it. Verlander gave up a run in the 2nd inning and nothing after that. Lowest bullpen ERA since August 13th. Tigers among the best. Trying to put this one in the win column for Verlander. 3 balls and 1 strike. Fernando Rodney recording saves in each of his last 2 appearances. He's worked 3 out of the last 4 days. And there's a strike.
Rodney has finished 53 games this year for the Tigers, which is tops in the American League.
Trying to finish this one off. 3-2 pitch. And a leadoff walk.
Hey fans, join us again tomorrow for the middle game of this series. The Rays coverage begins at 6:30. Excuse me, against the Rays. Coverage begins at 6:30 with Tigers Live. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire tomorrow evening on Fox Sports Detroit and Fox Sports Detroit HD. Leland was not happy about that base on balls.
Nor should he be. Runner going, and no throw. Alex Avila, by the way, enters the game to catch, and so uncontested Bartlett goes to second.
Well, they weren't even going to pay a whole lot of attention to him because one, Rodney does not have a great move. You can run on Fernando, and Jim wanted to make sure that he keeps everybody defensively in a good spot where they can defend the baseball. They're not all that concerned with Bartlett.
The 1-0 to Crawford. Way inside. 2 balls, no strikes. Crawford is 0 for 3, but time is called now, and here comes Rick Knapp. Verlander struck out 7 before departing, giving way to Rodney here in the 9th. Not a very long talk. Jim's starting to pace a little bit. He can't get comfortable. Here's the 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes on Carl Crawford. He's taking, and there's a strike.
Not many guys throw their changeup 3 balls and no strikes. But that's the kind of confidence that Rodney has in that pitch, and that he could throw it for a strike and whenever he needs to.
Lawson, ball 4. Leadoff walks to Bartlett and Crawford. That's going to bring the tying run to the plate with nobody out. Boy, Leland's hot right now.
Well, it's the base on balls. Managers don't mind when you give up hits, but it's the base on balls late in games that start rallies for the opposing team.
May not be a long leash tonight as they get the bullpen working, and there's ball 1 to Ben Zobrist.
It's not been too many times this year where Rodney was on the mound and Jim has gotten up somebody else. But with Minnesota losing, Jim wants to win this game.
Bartlett and Crawford are on. Zobrist 0 for 3. Way inside. 2 balls, no strikes, and now Fernando really scuffling. C and Lyon tuning up as quickly as they can. They were up earlier in the game. Shouldn't take too long if they are needed. Tigers got 3 in the top of the 9th. But Rodney is in some trouble here in the bottom of the 9th. Strike called. 2-1. Swinging a drive, but he's going to hook it. Whoa! foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now the 2-2. Got him, strike 3. Zobrist is out of there.
Zobrist is looking for a changeup, and Rodney threw that fastball at 96 right down the middle, and Zobrist could not pull the trigger. That's why you don't look for all-speed pitches when you got 2 strikes. You've got no shot at hitting it. No chance.
He will tote the bat back to the bench. Here comes Carlos Pena, a single and a double in this game. He is the tying run at the plate.
He also leads the American League in home runs with 39. Tigers outfielders are playing very deep in left, center, and right. And you know what Pena has on his mind.
Hitting one out.
Exactly.
No balls, 1 strike, and Carlos Pena. The home run against John Lester on Tuesday for his league high 39.
But with all the power numbers, the home runs and the RBIs, there's going to be a few strikeouts. He also leads the American League in that category with 159.
One ball, 1 strike.
You might as well throw him another fastball, because judging by the way that Carlos took that fastball that was off the plate up and in, I could tell he was looking for something soft. Just as Zobrist was doing. Told you.
1-2.
But you can do that against Rodney, though. And the difference in Pena sitting on the changeup versus Zobrist sitting on the changeup, Pena's still alive. He did it with 1 strike. Zobrist was sitting on a changeup with 2 strikes.
Leadoff walks to Bartlett and Crawford. Now Pena down to the count, asking for time, and is given time. Well, now Rodney taking too long, so Pena steps out on him.
Fernandez only has 2 pitches.
It shouldn't take long, should it?
Fastball and the changeup. He and Avila ought to be able to figure that one out.
I think they figured it out. Nope, he's going to step off. Perhaps they have it. And now Avila coming out to the hill.
I don't know if they think Bartlett is trying to tip pitches at second base or not. If you followed our telecast, I have told you that it's easier for guys that play middle infield positions to relay signs to the hitters, if that's something that Tampa does. Not every team does that, but there are quite a few that do. It's not cheating unless you get caught. And you're not trying if you're not cheating. That's what they say.
That is true. 1-2. Little looper, shallow center, base hit. Bartlett coming to third. They're going to send him home. Crawford goes to third base. Pena singles in a run, and it's 4-2.
Turned out to be a pretty good at bat there by Pena. Pena was sitting on the changeup the entire at bat, and we're going to show all of the pitches to you. I could tell that after he took this second strike, that he was sitting on a fastball. He got one, he missed it, and he was still sitting on it, and he finally got one that he could handle, and he didn't try to pull it.
First and third, one out, a run in. Tying runs are on the bases now. And here is Pat Burrell. Burrell is 0 for 3. Strike one. It's the 5th hit of the ball game. That's it. Just 5 hits for Tampa. 2 walks and a single in this inning. Low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Burrow does not hit into a lot of double plays. Only 5 this year in over 330 plate appearances. He usually hits the ball in the air.
Rodney kept it low and he missed it. 97 with a fastball, 2-1. Well, there's Evan Longoria. He's waiting on deck. Change up. 2-2. C and Lyon both ready if needed in the bullpen. Here's the 2-2. Way inside, almost hit him. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Tigers got 3, seemingly a comfortable lead in the top of this inning, but the Rays battling back here in the bottom. 4-2 ball game. Time runs on.
Rodney has thrown 25 pitches, more balls than strikes.
Swing and a miss. Ooh, is that big? Burrell is out. 2 gone. And it's going to leave it up to Longoria.
He pulled the string on Burrow. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
The 3rd straight day that Rodney has worked, and as you mentioned, throwing a lot of pitches here tonight. You would imagine he's not going to be good for tomorrow night. Longoria is 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts career against Rodney. He has an RBI double in this game. And he takes strike 1.
Now, Longoria is a dead pull hitter, so if you're Rodney, you have to know that, and Avila. And make sure if he does hit the baseball that he hit something to center field or right field. He's got power in that direction, but not the same kind of power that he has to left field.
Ball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pitches for Rodney. That is fouled straight back. Longoria had a rip. 1-2. 1 more strike. We put this one in the win column. Go back to the hotel. Line drive, fair ball down the left field line. Crawford scores. Here comes Pena coming to 3rd. Ball is bobbled. They're going to hold Pena. Longoria keeps it going with a double to left. It's 4-3. That ball was bobbled in the corner, and they thought about sending Pena the tying run, but they held him up.
Well, we told you Longoria is a dead pull hitter. He gets a fastball inside, and It's similar to the pitch that he hit off Verlander earlier in the game that was running in on his hands, somehow able to keep this ball fair. And Ryan gets over there and cuts it off, and Pena running from first, not the fleetest of foot. He's being held up by Tom Foley, their third base coach.
Willie Ibar will pinch hit for Gross. Longoria now represents the winning run. And a ball 1-0. Tying run at third, winning run at second, 2 outs. 31 pitches now for Fernando Rodney. One and one. Low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Pretty close. Touch inside, actually. Deep breath for Rodney. The 2 walks to start the inning. They've both come around to score. Checked it. Did he go? No, he didn't. 3-1. Greg Zahn has moved to the on-deck circle. Leland can't bear to watch. Bouncing ball to first. Cabrera has it. And the Tigers are going to win this game. Whoa. Fernando Rodney fires the ball into the crowd. Well, that's not good. Tigers hold on to win. 4-3 the final score. We'll be back with more from Tropicana Field. Well, take a deep breath. The Tigers hold on to win this one 4-3. They will gain another game on Minnesota, who was defeated by Cleveland. But boy, I tell you what, we had to really take a deep breath after this one was over. The Tigers get a victory for Justin Verlander, his 16th. The bullpens, well, the Rays bullpen blinked first, and the Tigers end up winning it in a battle of 2 bullpens that, for the most part, have been good.
Well, Howell struggled with his control. And as I said in that 9th inning, key at bats by Rayburn and also Marcus Thames taking walks from Howell because he wasn't throwing strikes. He's got good stuff, but he wasn't throwing strikes. That set up the Tigers to score 3 runs in that inning.
And it's the Tigers' 73rd win of the season. They now have a 6-game lead over Minnesota. A well-earned win tonight, 4-3. Stay with us after a short break. We'll have much more in this game. We'll join Ryan Field for Tigers Live, presented by your local Chrysler, Jeep, and Dodge dealers. And it begins immediately following these messages.